Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here's your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 506. Thank you for joining us for Black Entrepreneur Experience. This is where we shine the light on the most successful Black entrepreneurs in the world. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards, and today I am so deeply honored to have with us Eva Sonaike. She is the founder and CEO of Eva Sonaike, the home of luxury African interior products, where she brings the beauty and colors of West Africa to your home. Welcome, Eva.
Welcome, Frances. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for spending time. I have given our audience a very brief bio about your company and yourself. Why don't you fill in the gaps?
I will, Frances. I think you actually said it all. I'm Eva Sonaike, the CEO of a London, UK-based luxury African-inspired home and textile company. We've been running for almost 10 years and we've now been, I think, stocked and represented in every continent on this planet. And it's been a very, very interesting, successful journey for me so far. Thank you.
You know what? I was listening to some of the YouTube videos about your company and your business, and you said colors enhance your life. Colors can enhance your home and they can enhance your wardrobe. Talk to our audience about the beautiful colors and what got you into this particular business with textile.
I have actually a very versatile background. I'm coming from a media background. I was a successful journalist mainly in fashion and interiors for almost a decade before I branched out into my own business. And I was consulting lots of designers and writing articles about from the greatest design houses to kind of small independent designers around the world. But I've always been up for things to do with my time. And I started with a small sideline. I thought, you know what, I really enjoyed my work and my career as a journalist. I worked really hard to get where I was then. And so I thought, let me set up a little side business where I can, in my little spare time that I have, have a little business on the side. So I had my child, I had set up a little business and, it worked quite well. And, I thought okay, you know what, but I never actually thought of making a full-time job. And I went back to work. It grew steadily. And I think after 1 year, the biggest department stores in London kind of recognized my brand and started stocking me. So after 1 year, I was in Selfridges, I was in Liberty's, and I was in Phoenix, which are the kind of top luxury department stores in London. But I still went back to work and had a second child. But then when my second child was born, I realized I really, really enjoy that. And I think there comes a time when you think, what do I want to do with my life? Do I want to work for someone for the rest of my life and be successful, or do I want to, make an impact with my own work and, be an entrepreneur? And after the second child, I was clear I wanted to run my own business. So I still went back to work, but after 2 years running the business, I handed in my notice. And since then, since 2011, I've been running the business full time, and it's gone from strength to strength.
And I understand you're in, is it 4 different continents right now with your business? And
actually, we're in Europe, we're in Africa, we're in Asia, we're in the US, 5 different continents, and Australia. We're basically in everywhere.
Congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
So, Eva, tell us, how would you define success?
It's a really difficult question. I've thought about that. I think doing what you love and are passionate about and making a profit from it. I feel very blessed that I can do what I absolutely love. So I get into my studio every morning and I love what I'm doing. I'm looking forward to everything I'm doing every day, but it also pays my bills. And I think that's success for me.
And how long did it take for that to manifest according to your definition of success? How long did it take to manifest in your life?
In the first 2 years, my business was new. It was, I think my aesthetic was new and, everyone picked up on it. I think the first 2 years were extremely successful. I had a really, really high turnover in the first, when we started. But I think you're still going through so many questions and there's so many things that you really feel, I'm not sure about this, I'm not sure about that, and you make mistakes. So I think right now, when we're almost coming soon to a decade, I feel much more confident and much more kind of secure in what I'm doing. And obviously it's also a bigger challenge now because, we're more more established and, there are higher demands and people want to see new collections and want to see different things. So I think there's more pressure on me. But I think right now I feel really settled, really balanced. It's not just also about financial success, but it's also, I think, the whole balance in your life. I think we come to later. So I think now I feel we are where we should be and hopefully obviously grow from there to higher heights. And
you said something very profound. Eva, you said that you feel a little bit more balanced. Talk to our audience. How do you do that? You're a mother, you're an entrepreneur. How do you balance life, work, and business and family?
First of all, I'm a mother. And I'm a business owner. I think it all goes hand in hand. I'm also a wife, not to underestimate. And I also am myself. So I think you need to really, really balance yourself. It's really difficult because I thought, when my children are young, they need me. The older they get, the less they need. Absolutely no. My children are 7 and 9. And we live in the UK, and kind of our schooling system is very academic, so my children need me a lot. So first of all, I think you have to have a really great team. I've got a great team of women working with me who support me, work with me, and I know I can delegate certain elements which I couldn't do in the beginning. And then I have to work to a really, really strict plan. I mean, my week, my month, my days are broken down. I've got a to-do list to do and I need to really stick to that. So I work between 9 and 3 o'clock. That's when I have to literally squeeze the work in. And then afterwards I'm out and, have to do mother's duties. I still have my phone on me. I can answer emails. I still take phone calls. But I think you have to be really well organized and well structured in order to bring it all, to be successful at the different, parts of your life, of your business life and your family life.
So tell us, what is a daily or weekly habit that you do consistently that has given you the greatest success, Eva?
I think there are two things. First of all, as I said, I'm a mother, wife, businesswoman, but I also have myself. In the morning, I try to, every morning, have my 15 minutes of prayers. First of all, I believe in God and I believe in God's guidance. So I sit down, have my prayers, and I call it like a positive meditation where I just have positive thoughts, put them out there for myself, for my family, for my friends, for my business. And I think that really nurtures you. That gives you the kind of balance to go through a really hectic day. So that's one thing. And then, as I said to you, I have a strict to-do list, a monthly plan, a daily plan, a weekly plan, which I'm trying to, obviously there's certain things we can't do and we have to shift around, but I'm really trying to work in a structured way in order to get all my tasks done in the little time I have.
So when you talk about these different plans, daily, weekly, monthly, tell us about that planning. Is it technology-based? Is it the regular pen and paper type to-do list? Is there a technology that is helping you to manage your schedule?
That's really interesting because I have a business partner and he tries to get me onto a kind of technology-based management system. And I've tried different options and nothing worked. So I'm a total Mac fan. So I've got a wonderful Mac. I've got a template which we set up, and we set up monthly to set up always a month in advance. And I basically type in my monthly plan. We've got a big notice board in the office that goes onto the wall, and I have weekly plans which I always work a week in advance, so I know what I'm doing this month, so I know how to break down the weeks. And it's quite quick. I know I set them up on a Friday, so it's all typed up, printed out, put on a notice board, so everyone can see what everyone is doing, and that's how we work. So it's very old school, traditional, I would say. You can consider typing as old school and traditional. I'm using, if anyone can recommend something, please do so. But I tried and I prefer that way. So that's what we're doing.
So Eva, tell us, what is one valuable lesson you wish you knew before starting your business?
If I would have known that success comes and goes, or business is nothing which, it peaks and it goes down, it goes up and down. It's like a curve. So sometimes you are in the spotlight, and the next season they may say, oh no, we have a different trend, we want to see something entirely different. And despite things going up and down, never giving up and always continuing your path. I think that's something which is really, really good to know, because you get insecure in between. You think, oh my God, this season no one wants my product, what's wrong? And it doesn't mean that no one wants your product, maybe just a different audience wants your product this month. So, in the beginning we were really, really, really popular in the UK. The UK market now has totally shifted. So the US is working really well for us at the moment. Australia is working really well for us at the moment. And suddenly another market comes in. So I think you just have to adapt and be confident to know it's not the end of the world if things shift. I think if I would have known that before, I would have sometimes maybe felt more secure in what I'm doing.
So what is the biggest achievement so far in your business?
I can proudly say that we are, at the moment, worldwide, the I think, leading African-inspired textile company that caters for the high-end and luxury market. And I think to have this recognition within the luxury interior design, press, retail kind of community, I think that's a really big achievement, which I'm really, really proud of, because I started something new. I think our aesthetic was relatively new when I started the business, and Africa wasn't, the kind of the Africa I'm trying to represent wasn't on the map back then. It was always very black and white, very safari oriented, but nothing about the colors and the kind of vibrancy of our beautiful textiles. And I think I translated that and established a brand, established a recognized brand within the industry, not just here in Europe, but I think worldwide. And I think that's a big achievement.
So let's shift gears. Let's talk about risk or failure. What was the worst moment in business, and what was your takeaway?
There have been several worst moments, several bad moments. I mean, sometimes when you go onto a trade show and you spend a lot of money on these trade shows. So if you want to have a nice stand of a decent size, you spend a lot of money. You stand there and people come by and they like it, they say beautiful, but they don't buy. And you feel, oh my goodness, this is not going to work. I'm not going to survive another season in this industry. I mean, that can be very, very daunting. But I think what you need to learn is to grow a really, really thick skin and know every show I've done. I've done shows where after the first day, I'm tripled the money I spent. And I have done shows where after a month, I haven't made the money back. But 3 or 4 months later, I quadrupled it. So I think you have to work on these things. You have to reach out to people. You have to not take no or closed door for like the end of the tunnel. So I think you have to really get yourself up, stand out there and say, this was maybe not the most successful day, but it's going on. It's moving on. And that's, I think, there have been some really bad, and I'm not the only one. I'm having, the nice thing about the industry, we're all friends. So I have competitors or people who have similar business. They stand opposite me, and sometimes there are tears after shows, and we all are depressed and sad. And 3 months later, my goodness, who bought the line? This brand bought the line, and then you're smiling again. So I think it's a constant circle.
So who are your top 2 influencers in your life, and what lessons, Eva, did they teach you?
I looked at it and I had a discussion with my husband about this the other day. And I think my absolute number 1 influencer in my life is my mother. She's a businesswoman, a mother. She's everything. And she's one of the strongest, most greatest advisor in my life in every aspect. Being from business, she has been through a lot. She was a woman who was not supposed to study, and she studied, and she's a pediatrician. She, kind of ran a surgery with 2,000 patients while being a great mother. So I really look up to her in terms of advice, success, what she's achieved. And she's the most humble woman on this planet. I mean, she can do anything she wants. She's humble and she's down to earth, and she reaches out to other people and gives back. So I think that's a really, really great influencer in my life. Generally, I'm a big fan of Oprah Winfrey. I think what she's achieved in her life as a black woman is phenomenal. It's incredible to see someone who's been through so much, achieved so much, and is so positive and is giving back so much. And I get a lot of advice. I mean, I don't know her personally, unfortunately, but a lot of advice from, her podcasts, YouTube videos, and watching her show. I think that's also a woman who I think is incredible and kind of definitely has an impact on the way I think and the way I run my business.
So, Eva, share with us, is there a social cause that your business is supporting?
We are not at the moment, but there's a social cause I'm supporting, and I think I would like my business to get involved. I'm of Nigerian descent, and I'm a very privileged Nigerian, but of course it's a country where there's a big discrepancy between the rich and the poor. There's a children's home. A friend of mine, actually, she's a former colleague of mine, she launched not too long ago. It's called the House of Mercy, which basically helps children, educates children, gets children off the street and educates them, gets them to read and write, and tries to especially support girls with an education. I have not been, it's relatively new, I've not been there. I'm going in October, and I hope I will have the privilege to visit the home and see the children, see how my business can support it. So I've done it personally, but not through the business yet. But I think that's something I feel really kind of passionate and about to give back, because the particular friend of mine, she's an extremely successful businesswoman in UK-based Nigerian, but she was one of these children who was selling mangoes on the street in Nigeria, and she turned her life around, and obviously, was lucky. Her family moved to Europe, and she worked herself up, and she's a very, very successful businesswoman now. So I think, everybody has so much potential, and we're privileged, and it's important to reach out to people who haven't got the same privilege, but have potentially more potential than we have.
Well, thanks for sharing that story about the House of Mercy. Sounds like it's a great cause. So, Eva, if someone said, I'm going to write a book about you today, what is something that we would learn about you that we don't know?
I think that I'm an extremely positive person. I'm always rushing, I'm always running, so people see me rushing around. But I think if you have joy in life, and if you love life, and you're content with what God gave you, I think that's something I definitely have, and I feel so privileged. And I don't know whether it comes across. I hope it comes across, but I think that's something which I think I would love to people to know about myself. And they may see me at shows or in a work environment where I may come across like a tough business cookie who's, like trying to strike a deal. But I think the joy and the love and the positivity which kind of wells in me, I think that's something which I would love people to know more about.
So, Eva, talk to a younger you. What advice would you give to a younger Eva?
I think a younger Eva often thought, oh, no, I can't reach out to this person because I'm far too unimportant. Oh, no, we couldn't do that. Whereas I think I could have reached out to people much earlier who, when you're young and you're afraid, you think like, oh, maybe in a few years I can do that, or maybe I can't apply for that job because I'm not there yet. No, I think I could have done much more at an earlier stage. I didn't, but it doesn't matter because I did it eventually. I mean, I always believed in myself and did. But I think and that doesn't just apply to me. I think lots of people think, oh, I'm not there yet, or I can't do this yet. No, it's not my time yet. No, it is your time. Do it, shine, reach out and reach up to whoever you want to speak to or reach out to. And I'm sure you'll be surprised that you'll get positive answers.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's important. Lots of people underestimate their brilliance, I think.
So talk to the person in our audience. They want to start a business. They're working a 9-to-5. They're fearful. What advice would Eva give them?
First of all, I think fearful is an important word because if you translate or transform the fear you need to basically translate your fear into something positive. Yes, I was fearful. I think lots of people are fearful. But if you use the fear and say, okay, you know what, I'm not really sure about how I can do that. So let me sit down, do my research. Let me be the best I can at what I want to do. Let me know the background of everything that, that I want to cover with what I'm doing. So basically educate yourself or inform yourself to the max. And I think then, first of all, your fear will transform itself into strength. And then use that strength. You have to be ruthless with yourself. In the beginning, when I started the business, I had a baby. Other mothers were going to toddler groups. I was sitting in front of my laptop with my baby in my lap. I was working until 3 o'clock in the morning. I was up again at 7. You have to invest everything into it. So I think it's tough. But if you're passionate about it, if you love something, you will not even feel it. I didn't feel as work, or didn't feel like, I was straining myself. I think the contrary, it was great, it was positive, it was interesting, but you have to give it all and transform your negative fear into your strength, into your USP, into that oomph thing that makes you different from the rest and make it your sharpest tool and go for it.
What do we need to do, Eva, for us to ignite the fire within our community to inspire more folks that look like us to become entrepreneurs?
I think, first of all, we have to work together and unite. Because I think there's still a lot of, I'm at the tip of the iceberg, and I don't want you to be at the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of jealousy and everything. And I think we, as a community, and I see as a community, all of us, we have got so much strength. We've got so much knowledge, power. We have to really, really work together. And I've got a group of friends who are from different disciplines. One of them is a shoe designer. The other one is an event manager. The other one is a fashion designer. The other one is an accountant. And, we reach out to each other like, what, I don't know how to do my books. Can you help me? One reaches out. The other wants, a pair of fabulous shoes and, someone. So like, I think we need to really, really, really unite and believe in our strength as a community in order to be successful and maintain that success and strive and demonstrate that we can do it.
And I like that when you said that it's so much strength and knowledge amongst us. And by us uniting and coming together, that is going to be a very powerful force. It's going to do nothing but ignite us for more and more entrepreneurs. So that was really some profound advice.
Thank you.
So what book would you recommend to our audience, Eva, and why?
Oh, I read a lot. I read a lot of novels, to be honest with you. So in order to just balance the whole business stress out, I read a lot of fiction, to be honest with you. In terms of non-fiction, I don't have the title at the moment. It's Diane von Furstenberg's biography. I don't know if you heard about it. Diane von Furstenberg, the fashion designer.
No, I haven't.
Let me Google the title and get that to you. What I liked about the book was she's one of the most successful fashion designers in the world. And what I liked about her is that she failed so many times and she made so many mistakes. You always think someone like her just had like a relatively smooth ride. She made some major mistakes, and it's quite interesting to read that, but she always picked herself up, and when she's in her 70s right now and is still running. So I think that was a really big eye-opener for me to read. In terms of if you want to read something non-fiction, Americana. I think Americana is one of the books that, as a black woman, as an African woman, it's one of the books which says it all. I gave it to all my friends, no matter where they're from, whether they're African American or if they're of kind of European descent, and everyone read it and was amazed by it. And I think you understand the struggle of a black woman a little bit more.
Thank you so much for that. So, what, if anything, Eva, would make you stop?
There would be a major problem, like a medical problem with one of my children, and so I knew I would have to give everything to help with the care for my kids or family. I think that would definitely be something I would stop my business for.
And our sincere condolence on the passing of your father.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, can you tell us if there's any Black entrepreneurs that inspires you to keep going? You did mention Oprah Winfrey, which she is amazing. I agree with you 1,000%. Anyone else you want to share?
Let me think. I have personal friends and family members who are Black entrepreneurs who I find incredibly inspiring. I have a friend of mine, she's an American girl, and she is an event manager. And she's just a London-based event manager, but she has such an amazing positive spirit. She brings events together on a shoestring where you think it's a top, and she's very important. But I think inspiration often is a very personal thing. But I think I'm more inspired by the people I'm close to and who are close to me, who I know very well. Well, I think in my circle, I think I have quite a few friends of inspiring Black female entrepreneurs who are doing great things, really, really great things. For example, the lady I mentioned earlier who runs a children's home, she used to be a magazine publisher and she's into properties, and her background is from the streets of Nigeria, and she made it into, she was France-based, now she's UK-based, and she's very, very successful. I think that's a major inspiration for me, a woman who comes from a background like this, and she's in her late 30s and has made it to where she's right now. And I think to overcome all of the, this terrible poor background, to make herself into someone where she is right now, I think it's really inspiring.
You had mentioned your background in journalism, Eva. Do you feel that there was any part of that career that you were able to translate or give you like a heads up in terms of bringing that knowledge base to your business?
Most definitely, yes. I think as a journalist, first of all, you have to be able to write copy. And then as a journalist, you deal with designers. So I just basically turned that skill around. So I knew exactly, if I wanted to get good press, I need to have, to write very, very interesting kind of a press release for my products. And I also knew how to sell myself to journalists and to press and to media. So I think that's a very, very, very invaluable skill within the design industry. I can style. I know how to, make, not just style on, kind of interior styling, but I know how to make photo shoots look great. I can work with photographers. I think research is really, really important as a journalist. I can find, to be honest, information on anything. If you're a trained journalist, you know how to research. And that helps a lot when you're running a business. If I have to research manufacturers or be it, like hardware for my products, I can always find something good and something different. So it's definitely helped me majorly. I think if I wouldn't have had this background in media, had such a great kind of a journalistic education, I don't think I could run the business as well as I can do it now.
So hindsight 2020, you launched your business in the UK. Was that the best place for you to launch your business, and why?
Most definitely. I think first of all, the UK, and especially London, London is the creative hub in the world. I think London is where so much be it from music, be it art, be it kind of film, originates from. I think this is a place where you can be creative and where people are open to different aesthetics, different genres, different ideas. So I think London was the best place for me to launch the business. I think especially as a black woman, of a woman of African descent, it's also a great place because there's a big kind of black audience. There's a big educated black audience that understands kind of the aesthetic, which I want to, my narrative. But not just the black audience. I think it's generally a wonderful place to live. It's one of the most open cities in the world. It's one of the most kind of multicultural places in the world. And I think I feel really privileged to be a London designer. And I think also not just in terms of the response in terms of manufacturing. The UK used to be a manufacturing country. I mean, in the Industrial Revolution, the factories for garment factories, everything that is all coming back. So there's a lot of really high quality manufacturing, fabric printing happening here, which somewhere else I think would be more difficult for me. It's a great place to be a kind of creative entrepreneur in.
So what are your goals for the future with your brand and your business?
It's very simple because in terms of the branding and in terms of the product selection, we have everything we want in the business. I mean, we have interior products such as cushions, we've got poofs, we've got rugs, we've got the fabrics, we've got lamps. I may introduce wallpaper, but I think in terms of product selection, that will absolutely be it because we've got a very, very big selection already. So what I want to do is now is just work solely on marketing and growing the brand or growing my audience for more people to know about us. So for more people to come to our website and to buy our products. I think we just need to grow the brand, become more visible worldwide in all our markets, which we're working on quite kind of intensively at the moment. For interior designers all over the world to know Eva Sonaike as the to-go-to brand when it comes to luxury, high-end African interiors.
So if you had to do it all over again, would you do the same business and the same industry?
Absolutely. I wouldn't change anything. I would do exactly the same as it was.
So, Eva, share with our audience, when you hit a bump in the road, how do you adjust, reset, and refocus?
I'll step back a little bit. Sometimes you need to step back to breathe. Maybe sometimes to sit even down and have like a down day and say like, oh my God, it's all not going the way I wanted to. And then breathe in and then continue. I'm very resilient. You have to be very resilient in order to get up. But I think sometimes you need to have this step away from everything and then step back up and be strengthened and do it. There are times when I feel down. I think there would be no business owner in this whole world who says they don't have a day when they feel down, when they feel disencouraged, when they feel like there was a big setback, I made a mistake or something didn't go my way. But I think you need to know how to get back onto your feet. And mine is to reflect, sit down, see what I did wrong or what someone else did wrong or what was the situation. And then there's one thing, it's just actually on my desktop here, it's a little thing. You're allowed 5 emotional minutes and then you've got to be gangster again. So I take my 5-10 minutes and then I'm going to be gangster again and have to step out there and have to continue because that's the way. That's the only way forward and you get over it.
I love that. 5 to 10 minutes of emotional moments and then you have to go back to being gangster. I'm going to have to steal that because I love that.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, that is wonderful.
It's true, isn't it?
So Eva, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question that you wish I would have asked you? And I want you to ask the question and answer it.
Oh, the one question you could have asked me. If you wouldn't do what you're doing, what would you do? So does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I think I would be a florist.
Wow.
Yes. And not just like a little florist. I think I would have like my few chain of stores, at least in London. I think florist is something which you have to do locally. But I think I would be a florist. I mean, it would be tricky because I have I'm really allergic. I've got really bad hay fever. So I'm not sure how realistic it would be. But I absolutely love flower arrangements. I love growing flowers. I love knowing about flowers. I love everything about flowers. I think I would be a florist.
So tell our audience, how did you finance your business? What capital do you use to run your business? I know a lot of entrepreneurs, that's a question that they are puzzled with. Where do I get the finances to actually start a business?
That's a very, very tricky and difficult question because I was privileged enough that I could self-finance. Up to now, I've been self-financed my business. So, and then after a few years, whatever I invest in the business, my business is, there's a word for it. Is it called a string capital or something? Whatever goes in, I'm only using the profit of my business to invest in the business. And I have to say I was very privileged that I could put my own money in for my savings when I started it off. But also I run an interiors business, so the capital is not massive that you need. I mean, there are other businesses which need much, much more capital. So I started off with buying in fabrics, launching in Venice. So I think in the first year I spent maybe £8,000, which is not a lot of money, to be honest with you, to get it growing. And then the expensive things for me are now is the marketing, the trade shows. I mean, trade shows cost an arm and a leg, but I was very quickly in a position that the business generated enough money that I could reinvest that into the business and then grow from there. But I was privileged. Not everybody is in a position to start a business like this. So obviously there are different options. I'm not sure how, depending on where your audience is from, US-based, UK-based, you can obviously get different loans. In the UK, you have a lot of business support. And I had that as well. I can't say that as well. In the UK, we get, for example, trade grants. So if you do trade show abroad, I did trade shows in the US and France, and the British government gives you a big fraction of money to go abroad in order to, establish young entrepreneurs to, settle in international business. So you get grants, you get all of the help, and I luckily enough benefited from all of that. So I'm not sure how it's in the US or somewhere else, but especially in London and the UK, the government is very, very, very supportive for young brands in terms of help with overseas trips and overseas kind of promotion.
So you are the expert in interior design for the home and bringing colors into the home. Eva, If someone is interested in saying, if someone in our audience is saying, I'm interested in doing what Eva's doing, where should they start? What advice would you give them?
The first thing, I think what you have to have is almost a passion is not enough. You have to have an obsession and love for interiors and colors. Everything. When I was a 3-year-old girl, I had a doll's house and my friends were all playing with the doll's house. I was designing and changing the furniture around and making wallpaper and making little cushions for the little things. And that's when I was 5. When I was a teenager, the decor of my room changed, I think, on a fortnightly basis. I went to flea markets because, didn't have a lot of money. I went to flea markets. I bought stuff. I made stuff. I changed my wallpaper. I know how to hang wallpaper, everything. So I think there must be a total obsession. First of all, if you want to work in interiors, you need to have a understanding of spatial design, of space, of different fabrics and textures. And you have to understand color. I think that's a basic kind of requirement. And if you have all of that, and I think especially if you want to create your own line, if you have a unique story, if you have a unique narrative to tell, because even through my designs I think I tell a story, then go out there and do it and translate it into words so people will understand it. You have to always give them, because people need to sometimes be spoon-fed, give them a little story what it is about. My botanical inspiration from the botanical gardens in Ghana, I think people really like that story and they want to listen to that. So I think step out there and do it. Don't be afraid. Don't be disencouraged, because people will tell you can't do it. People will tell you it will fail. People will tell you, oh, maybe not. Go out there, but you have to have your foundation, your USP, and your basics solid, or relatively solid, so you can stand on it. And even if you have setbacks, that it will not fail, and not fail, and it will not kind of fall down.
And Eva, something you said that was very profound. And you were talking about when you were a little girl in your dollhouse, and then you went into your teenage years. And I want you to kind of connect the dots. Knowing it appears at a very young age that you were interested in colors and textiles and interior design, you ended up in journalism. What happened in that journey that it took you into a different direction opposed to starting out in interior design?
It's actually quite interesting because I studied journalism and then I went straight into fashion journalism. So I think fashion and interiors go hand in hand. I have to say I was really, really obsessed with interiors, but I also loved fashion. I was always been into clothes, and I thought, which way am I going to go? And the stage when I was at university, I was definitely like, I want to be in fashion. I want to work in fashion, and I worked for German L, and I was kind of high up in the fashion. But I think fashion and interiors go really, really hand in hand, because it's about design, it's about textures, about colors. So I was writing mainly about fashion, but I was also writing about interiors. And then I think then you have the aha moment at some point, and I thought I would have never started a fashion brand or like become a fashion designer, because I'm not that obsessed with creating fashion. But I think I was more obsessed or really interested in writing about fashion and analyzing fashion. But then for the creation process, it was like a no-brainer for me to go into the interiors and textiles world. I think maybe also because I had enough of fashion after 10 years in fashion. It's a beautiful, interesting and amazing industry. And the great thing about fashion, which I think almost potentially more than interiors, you really need to know, if you're a successful fashion designer, you really need to know about art history, you need to know about textile design, you need to know about different kind of eras and periods in fashion and their kind of significance and their style. So I think that translates that into interiors almost. Whereas if I would have done it the other way around, I think my foundation wouldn't have been as broad. So I'm really happy I worked in fashion. I loved it, and I kind of really appreciate what I learned.
So Eva, share with our audience a parting piece of advice you want to offer.
And I think there are different people, but I think if you're an entrepreneur and if you're listening to this show, if you're interested in potentially running your own business, whatever it is, from any discipline, it could be from a legal discipline or from a kind of an accounting discipline or from a creative industry, I think to start off is to believe in yourself and believe in your ability and believe in that whatever you're doing, that you can do it. And if you're working, you have to work hard, you have to work smart, there are all the different kind of theories of how to work. But I think if you know what you're doing and if you're in love with what you're doing, with obsessed. I've got a friend who is an accountant, she's obsessed with figures and the numbers, and she loves it, and she has her own firm, and she was not sure. I was like, you know what? You're great at that. That's exactly what you want to do. She was working for a big firm. That go and set up your own, start with 3-4 people, and she's now, has an accounting firm with many employees, and she works for many people. But I think the believing in yourself and having the attitude, I can do this, and I can reach out to people, and I can do it, and will be successful. And I think to think positively. I have this sometimes that I think, oh my goodness, I don't know how to do that. At the moment, on a total positive string, I wake up in the morning and think like, you know what, this week will be amazing. I know exactly the things will happen. And I think I envisage positivity and things will come.
Absolutely. Well, you know what, Eva, we come to the part of our podcast interview where it's called Fun Facts Lightning Round. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I would like you to give us very quick answers. Are you ready?
I am, yes.
The last movie you saw?
Oh my goodness, it's called Get Out.
You relax doing what?
Doing yoga, hot yoga actually. I love doing hot yoga, doing it 4 times a week.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
Michael Jackson.
Your favorite dance song?
The Weeknd. What's it called? It's at the moment it's out. It's a summer hit. It's The Weeknd, the kind of Ethiopian Canadian guy. He's called The Weeknd. I don't know the name of the song, but the song is amazing.
No, that's good. And,
okay. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And what food you eat every week, no matter what?
It's not every week. I eat a massive bowl of salad every day.
And your favorite month?
It's May. It's my birthday, and it's the beginning of spring, and I love it.
Thank you so much. So, Eva, we at Black Entrepreneur Experience so appreciate your time. And what is the best way for our audience to connect with you and support your business?
Okay, there are different ways. So first of all, my website, www.evasonaike, EVA, for sugar, ONAIKE.com. And another great way to connect with us is through Instagram, I would say. Again, my name, Eva Sonaike, all in one word. We've got an Instagram site. You can comment, contact me if you want to find out anything about us. Please be in touch. It would be great. It would be an honor. We reach out to everyone. We try to really answer everyone's questions or feedback. So, yeah, it would be great to hear from your audience. To connect with us, any questions, we're always here to answer and to help.
Eva, thank you so much. That is a wrap.
Thank you so much, Frances. It's an absolute honor to be in your show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.